These are Reactive Mecha headphone ears, a bright accessory that I made for my headphones. They have 3 different color options, turn on/off in light/dark environments, and react to a head tilt, almost like an anime or video game character would. I'll go through how I made them from the initial idea to code to the functional prototype. This was a project for a course I took called Interactive Electronic Arts. The hardware used was already purchased as part of the course materials, so I decided to keep it simple and reuse everything. They're fun to wear, but a little bulky, especially the battery pack, which is 3 AA's and a bit heavy on my head. In the future, if I made any changes, I'd probably go for smaller batteries and try and slim down the ears a little bit thickness-wise. I've also thought about adding some more details to their design for the future. Initially in the design process, I started with a really rough MS Paint sketch, then wrote out some pseudocode for how they'd work, which got adjusted along the way. I then worked on wiring and some simple LED test code to test functionality, then moved on to 3D modeling and properly coding the microcontroller. For the electronics, I used a 1/2 meter long NeoPixel LED strip with alligator clips and the Adafruit Circuit Playground Express board as my sensor and control board. The board has a built-in IMU and light sensor, so I didn't have to toggle or add anything to just use both. For the LEDs, I connected power and ground of the strip to power and ground on the board, and used pin A0 as my signal pin. The Circuit Playground kit comes with a battery pack that I decided to use as my main source of power instead of a USB-C for mobility as I move around with my headphones on. The mechanical design started with a sketch describing the shape, how the clips would slide onto my headphones, and where I planned to put the wire holes. Next, I modeled the clip in Fusion and did a few different test prints to make sure that they fit snug and didn't wiggle when I moved my head around. Then I measured the size of the LED strips with the case on and used that to figure out the internal area needed in the ears. In the future, I can make this thinner by just taking the case off. I modeled the actual ear shape on top of the clip that I tested. For this part, I used white PLA, sliced it, and printed it out on my A1 Mini. I also decided to add an extra panel that I would print in clear PLA and superglue on. This made the LEDs shine through a lot brighter than before, and I really liked the pattern that they made, so I kept the panel only 2 mm thick. For assembly, I just wiggled the LEDs inside the ears and slid them on my headphones. Since this was just a prototype, I taped the board to my headphones and slid the battery pack on top of them. I might add a TPU sleeve to the LED section that goes between the ears, but I really don't mind it being exposed. For programming the ears, I wanted to keep it super simple and honestly wanted to have fun using block code instead of anything more complex. Most of the initializations are pretty simple. It starts in an off mode and will change colors based on the capacitive pad that is touched. When one is touched, it stores the current color state in the form of a number for each state. When the headphones are tilted enough that the IMU detects a negative acceleration on the z-axis, they light up pink, wait 2000 milliseconds, then check the previous color state that's stored and return to it if the headphones are no longer tilted. I also added button A as a reset button for both my eyes while testing, and because it's just a helpful feature. Additionally, overriding this main loop, I used the onboard light sensor to set the headphones to go to full brightness in a dim or dark environment, or set the brightness to 0 when in a bright environment, so it's not a drain on the batteries. This was a super fun project to work on, and I really enjoyed working on an accessory that's designed to be worn. I might further work on the packaging to reduce the weight of the ears, but this is something I'd wear just for fun and making my life a little more whimsical. I've uploaded the JavaScript version of my code to a GitHub repo, which is linked in the description. I'll make sure to add the CAD files when I get a chance, and links to everything that I used in this project. Thank you for watching, and stick around if you'd like to see more videos like this from my channel.